Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel on data engineering. In today's video, we'll be looking at a mini project called Students' Mental Health. So let's start the project. There is a Japanese international university which conducted a survey for its international students in the year 2018 and published a study based on that in the following year, and which was approved by several regulatory boards. Let's look at the study. So the study found out that international students are facing a higher risk of mental health difficulties compared to the general public, and that the social connectedness and the acculturative stress. So here, the acculturative stress is nothing but the culture that you adapt to. So it's hard to adapt to the culture when you go to abroad. So that is called acculturative stress. And these are the signs of depression. Let's look at the requirements. We have to explore the students' data using PostgreSQL, and we have to analyze the data, and we have to see that if we could come to a similar conclusion as per the survey. And also we have to see if the length of stay is a contributing factor for the students' mental health difficulties. So now let's look at the given description. So these are the field names of the table. You can see the type of students, their language proficiencies, the academic standards, their age, and this is the length of stay in years. And these are the scores of depression, social connectedness, and the acculturative stress. Let's look at the query. Here I have written a simple query which selects all the field names from the students table. So here you can see the students who are international or domestic, the region, the gender, the academic standard, etc. So now let's look at the next query. So as per the requirements, it's given that we have to return 9 rows and 5 columns, and we have to see if the length of stay is an impacting factor for the student's mental health. So now I have written a query based on that. So here I'll be selecting the stay column, which returns the length of stay, and I'm counting the number of international students. I'm selecting the 2dep, 2SC, and the 2as. So these three are the field names that are given here. So 2dep is defined as the total depression score, and 2SC is the total score of social connectedness, and 2as is the total score of acculturative stress. So I'll be taking the average of these three. Based on this, we can say that if the length of stay is a contributing factor or not. So I'll also be taking the round function here because that makes our table looks compact instead of getting a big table in the query result. So I'm rounding it to 2 decimal places for all the three averages that I'm taking here. And I'm aliasing it as average PHQ for the depression score. And I'm aliasing the social connectedness score as average SCS. And I'm aliasing the total acculturative score to average AS. Okay. Now this is from the students table. So from students. And now I'm applying a where filter. So here I'm counting for the international students, right? So I'll be taking this inter dom field and I'm giving it as inter, since you can see here that the inter states for the international students. And I'm grouping by stay because it gives you the unique stay values for each row. And here I'm ordering by stay, and I'm doing it in the descending order. And I'm limiting to 9 values since in the requirements it is given that we have to return only 9 rows. And you can see the query result over here. So this is the length of stay. This is the count of international students and their respective average scores for depression, social connectedness, and their acculturative stress. So now let's analyze this data using a bar graph. Now let's look at the bar graphs and analyze the students' mental health data. So first I'll be comparing the stay with the average PHQ, that is the average depression score. Then I'll be moving on to the next ones. So if you look at this graph, you can see the I have given the count of international students in the color field. So these are the count of international students. So when you closely observe the bar graph, you can see that there is a general upward trend in the average PHQ scores as the stay duration increases. So, for example, if you stay for 10 years, you can see that the average PHQ is the highest. So, when compared to the lower stay duration. So, if you see for the lower stay durations, such as for 1 and 2 years of stay, it basically corresponds to lower average PHQ scores. So, with this, we can say that with longer durations, such as 8 and 10 years, are associated with higher PHQ scores compared to the lesser number of years of stay. Seeing the comparison of stay and average PHQ scores, we can conclude that with longer stays might experience higher PHQ scores, possibly indicating increased mental health challenges or distress over time. So now, coming to the second graph, here we are comparing the average SCS scores with the length of stay. So if you observe the graph closely, you can see that the average scores show variability across different stay durations, but without a strong linear trend. And the highest scores are observed at the specific state, like stay for 6 years or 7 years. The average score is the highest, 48. And you can see that there doesn't seem to be a clear pattern where longer or shorter stays consistently correlate with higher or lower SCS scores. So this graph suggests that the length of stay has a more complex relationship with the SCS scores, and there is no clear indication that longer stays lead to significantly higher or lower SCS scores. For this part of the graph, we cannot say that the length of stay is a considering factor for the student's mental health. Coming to the final graph, we are comparing the length of stay with the average acculturative scores. So here you can see that there is a downward trend in the average score as the stay duration increases. Higher average scores are seen in the shorter stays, like for 1, 2, or say for 4 years of stay, while lower scores are observed in the longer stays. And this trend suggests that the students with shorter stays tend to have higher scores, which may imply a better mental health, like compared to the PHQ scores. For this part of the graph, we can conclude that it suggests the length of stay negatively impacts the scores. And this trend may imply that prolonged stays could contribute to a decline in the mental health. From all the three graphs, we can conclude that the length of stay appears to correlate with certain mental health scores. It doesn't have a uniform effect across all metrics. And overall, these results suggest that the length of stay may affect mental health metrics differently with some potential implications. So this is the end of the project. I'll also share the project files in the description below so you can work on the project in your local machine. And I'll also share my Git link where you can find all my remaining projects as well. If you want to work on them, you can feel free to ask any doubts from those projects as well. So that's it for the video. If you do like the video, please share and subscribe to my channel. Thank you for watching.